I should say the things have changed in some ways.
Who is the determinant of the public interest?
The more time people spend in digital worlds, the more of our lives we live there.
Intercoin, bringing power to the people. Democracy dollars are a form of UBI where the votes are distributed to everyone equally. And, voting, everyone kind of feels right away that it should be one person, one vote. And so voting is sort of something that even not all, but a lot of Republicans who may not like socialism, but they like the idea of everyone having a vote, as long as maybe they're not a criminal or something like this. So the idea is, again, look at the voting. If you give everyone democracy dollars, it drowns out the something like $20 billion that's spent to amplify some voices over others. And in a way, it helps to dilute what was private interests influencing our democracy. And if you can see that, then maybe you can also see how giving everyone equal amounts of money can drown out the, say, central planners of the government or the industrialists who direct this or that economic. So it's power by the people, if you will, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
I don't want to sound controversial or I'm not against anything, anyone in particular. I just like to do some critical thinking, right? And it's just all right, in America, we sent over X amount of billions of dollars to do transgender studies in Pakistan. It's just why don't you reallocate that back into the American people's pockets, the people that are going to keep the economy going and growing, and then you'll have new entrepreneurs coming about. But I don't know a single transgender in Pakistan, so why am I tax dollars going to study them? Shouldn't their own government allocate money to study their own people in their own countries? That's just a critical thought of mine, right? And I'm there would be a lot more money going around worldwide if not for nothing, but if Americans were getting most of their taxes back instead of to these seemingly useless programs to Americans, like the one I just mentioned, right? And that's not to say that I'm against any of that or whatever, right? Everybody can live how they want and whatever, to each their own. I'm just saying from a financial standpoint, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And it's these types of programs and things like that, not UBI. I think that's a great idea, but the things that they do with tax dollars that Americans work hard for. Sure, other people in other parts of the world need help and solutions with things, but it's not
right.
Not,
Well, the funny thing is, right, is what you're criticizing is decisions made by people in charge of a lot of capital, which was collected through taxes or maybe collected through commerce. And then these people make a decision. With UBI, everyone makes their own decision on how to spend their little part of the economy. But here we're arguing about what can be done. The central planners do this, they do that. Some people are unhappy this way, some people are unhappy that way. So I think that actually is kind of leads me to what I wanted to pose to you, Scott. Okay, there are other ways that our society has found out to help people who need help, the indigent, the people who may be disabled. And so I want to go through them and you kind of give your idea about why can't we just use that? Okay, so for example, a lot of the people who are on the left and sometimes democratic socialists say the kind of thing that we just heard. They say, well, why don't we just use the money back home? We don't need the wars. We don't need everything. And on that, many people can agree. But then they say, well, why don't we have a federal jobs guarantee, for example? Why don't we just simply make sure people will work and simply guarantee them these jobs? Because we need a Green New Deal. We need the central plan to essentially plan our way to a greener future or this and that. And we need to put money in specific places rather than give it to the people and then have the people figure out where to put it. So
but I need to go to work in 20 minutes. I just want to say
please,
this
yes,
really quick and just get it off my mind. It's that the one thing that's bothering me is how the waters are being muddied with a universal basic income. The thing is that most of welfare and unemployment benefits pays you to do nothing. Universal basic income pays you to do anything. So with a lot of blind partisans, I see this muddying of the waters of like, we already gave out money. But let's say a trucker was on unemployment and somehow that trucker made more money on unemployment than they did actually trucking. They wouldn't, if they went back to trucking, they would lose that money. Now, if they had a universal basic income, they would say, hey, this money stacks. So why don't I get this money and that money too, instead of being like, you know, so stuck to something, instead of having my options limited. So every time I see this muddying of the waters of a UBI and general welfare and unemployment, they don't know what they're talking about, because UBI stacks and all these other things do not stack. That's why you have no production and people not working, because the other things do not stack. Thank you.
Like to be the first to hear about Intercoin's roadmap and news? Definitely join and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to click that little notification button so you can get updates when the next video drops and the next time we interview a legend like Noam Chomsky or Patrick Friedman. And if you would like to participate in the conversation, go to community.intercoin.app. We'd love to hear from you and about your community. This is what the project is all about. Intercoin, bringing power to the people.